Previously on Timbicon's Back to Basics.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Timbicon, the home of all things you need to get woodworking, in association with Gradually Wizardly, are proud to present this Back to Basics series, all about making boxes. And without further ado, here is your host, Phil Schinbein.
Okay, calm down. My name's Phil Schinbein. That narrator has a new microphone and he's very excited about it. In this series of videos, we're going to make a bunch of boxes to varying degrees of complexity, starting with this one here and ending up with these cabinets with drawers in them down here. We're going to use very basic tools and materials, and it should be a lot of fun. Stick around. Wait, I don't get it. Is he still very excited about that microphone? What is it? What's going on? In the last video, we made a box. This box here, actually. In this video, we're making 3 boxes. Hooray! Well, drawers. The first two will use Milescraft jigs, specifically the Dowel Jig Kit from the previous video, and the pocket hole jig from the next video. The third drawer is based on a very stupid and potentially offensive joke that might not work, but more on that later. This video is not a shootout video, it's just 3 different ways to make a drawer. In this video, we are using the Dowel Jig Kit from the last one, as well as this pocket hole jig kit, the center finder, the SawGuide, and the mallet and markers and stuff, as well as the face frame clamp and the marmalade jar full of dowels and good old trusty Titebond 3. We're going to be using this 12mm ply and 6mm marine ply for the boxes and the bottoms, and finally a small container of screws. The basic design for these boxes is pretty much the same as the last video, right? It's just a box. We don't really need to see me over by the window there drawing some pictures with a pretty nifty 4-color pen. So let's move right along to cutting out parts with Milescraft's SawGuide. Scene, yeah. The only real difference between this drawer and the box we made in the first video is that with this one you should at least be kind of aware of where the slides are going to go, just so that you don't, screw into the dowel itself and maybe hit an open spot and pop the thing open. But other than that, it's pretty much just put in some dowels and glue it together, make sure it's as square as you can get it, and you're good to go. Another difference between this one and the box from the last video is the way I did the bottom. For this drawer, I'm literally just gluing down a chunk of marine ply and then nailing it in place with some finishing nails. The nails are really only there to hold it until the glue dries. This is going to be plenty strong for anything I'm going to put in this drawer. Hey, there's no nails sticking out on the inside. This next drawer has the same basic design again, only this time screw placement is absolutely critical, as drawer slides will be drilled into the same space. Remember kids, gotta put your toys away when you're done playing with them. Now to back that out and do it again with glue. As I mentioned earlier, pocket placement is very important with using pocket holes to make drawers, because if you put a slide where you've got a pocket hole, you will try to drill into the back end of a screw, and that just never, ever works. And another thing you need to be aware of is how long your screws are in relation to the thickness of your timber. Now we get to the bit with the joke that might not work. The whole point of this series of videos was to use nothing but very basic easy, straightforward tools, basic hand tools, that sort of thing. But for this bit, just because I like the joke and it makes me giggle, and I'm producing all of these at home myself, I'm going to use the table saw. In the United States of America, there's a drawer style called quarter, quarter, quarter. I'll be replicating this drawer using a metric flat top blade that is 6 millimeters wide. So we have a 666 design style. Is that too much? Yeah. This drawer will be big and heavy, so I'm going to put a 12 mil bottom on it, and I'm just going to rabbet the edges using the same setup. Oh yeah. So the basic idea of this drawer construction design is that you end up with a 6 mil dado that's 6 mil deep, 6 mil from the end of the timber, right? And the other side has a 6 mil rebate. The downside, of course, is that on the front and back you end up with a little hole there, but generally speaking it'll be either covered by a drawer front or it'll be in the back, so who cares? When you're doing your setup, the first thing you need to do is check the actual physical width of your saw blade, and use the bit poking out the back end of your calipers to set your depth guide, right? And then you use the guide to set your blade height and your distance from the fence. That looks like it says 5, but it was actually perfect. It's just a wonky angle there. Now the next thing to do is make a ton of test cuts so that you know that it's perfect. Make something for your kid out of the test cuts. Finally, the last thing, you're going to need a really tall fence, like a tenon guide of some kind, and it has to be absolutely perfectly square to the table.
Check square, check square, check square.
When it comes time to actually cut these drawers out, for the sides of the drawer box, you want to cut dados, and for the front and back, you need to cut rebates. Next, you need to cut the dados that are going to hold the bottom into the drawer, right? With the sides of the box, you want to cut the dado on the same surface, or the same side of the board, if you will, as the dados that are holding in the front and back in the corners. See what I mean here? That's kind of a clunky way to say it, but you get it. However, and a bit counterintuitively, for the front and back, you need the dado groove to be cut on the opposite side of the board from the rebate. See? Dado, rebate. This will make sense in a minute when we put it together. The only thing left to do now is to simply cut the rebate all the way around on the drawer bottom. Hey, that plywood's not flat. Who knew? This is probably my favorite way I've come across yet in making a drawer, right? Because just when you open the drawer, you're not just pulling on the drawer front and dragging everything along. The way the front holds in the sides means when you open the drawer, you're pulling the sides with it. They're not being dragged along. It's fantastic. It's actually really hard to break this drawer design. It's so good. It's very clever. So there you have it, 3 drawer designs, including one which might condemn me to an eternity of toastier climbs. If this is your first time here, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Check the links down in the doobly-doo, or go to www.timbecon.com.au for everything you need to know to get wood working. Man, I love that line. It's still brilliant. I love it. Don't forget to check me out as well, Gradually Wizardly, here on the YouTubing. Until next I see you, have a good one. Go make something. So far we've got a box and some drawers. If only we had something to put the drawers in. Okay, so hi Sheldon.